biggest unsolved heists throughout history. And before we get into it, remember to hit that subscribe button for more awesome content just like this.
In 1968, Japan was rocked by the greatest bank heist in the nation's history. On the 10th of December, 300 million yen was being transported from a Tokyo bank to a local business. During the journey, the delivery vehicle was pulled over by a concerned police officer. The officer claimed the vehicle was filled with explosives and ordered the driver to step outside. The officer then climbed into the vehicle to begin his investigation and drove away 300 million yen richer. As you may have guessed, this was not a real police officer but a criminal impersonator. While it might sound like a simple scheme, the thief was only able to pull it off because he had first laid some important groundwork. In the week before the highway robbery, this thief called in multiple hoax bomb threats. He claimed that explosives had been planted in a bank manager's home and were set to detonate at a particular time and date. The threats were taken very seriously and security was beefed up around the manager's house and the bank itself. However, when the day arrived, nothing happened, which led everyone to think it was an elaborate hoax. A few days later, the thief used the police's false sense of security to pull off the heist. It was a classic misdirection, as authorities still had all their efforts focused on the bank manager's home. They had no idea the thief would strike while the money was still in transit. As for who was behind this daring crime, that remains a mystery. Even 50 years later, the case has eluded Japan's top investigative minds. In November 1971, passengers aboard a Boeing 727 had their worst nightmares realized when a hijacker threatened to blow up their plane. The hijacker was an innocuous middle-aged man who went by the name D.B. Cooper. Midway through the flight, Cooper handed a note to a flight attendant explaining that his briefcase was full of hidden explosives. He demanded 4 parachutes and $200,000 in cash or he would detonate it. Authorities were notified and quickly made arrangements to get Cooper what he wanted. When they touched down in Seattle, the passengers were exchanged for the money and parachutes. The plane then took off again, this time with just Cooper and the flight crew on board. Somewhere between Seattle and Reno, Cooper grabbed his ransom money and parachuted out of the back of the plane. Police conducted an enormous search, but neither Cooper's body nor the cash were ever found. In 2016, the FBI officially stopped their investigation. This wild case has inspired songs, books, movies, and TV shows, and is still talked about today. The Northern Bank robbery is still one of the most audacious heists in European history. In 2004, 26.5 million British pounds were stolen from the Belfast Bank just a few days before Christmas. A group of masked gang members were able to infiltrate the Northern Bank by posing as police officers. They then took 2 bank employees' families hostage and hid them in a nearby forest. The employees were ordered to go to work the next day and pretend nothing was wrong. Fearing for their family's safety, the employees allowed the gang to return to the bank and gave them access to the money storage area. Once inside, the thieves took everything they wanted and somehow got away with it. They stole so much money that officials say those responsible still haven't spent it all over a decade later. This heist marks a turn for the strange. In March 2015, 2 dairy lovers stole a highly valuable Bosker Holland cheese slicer from the Amsterdam Cheese Museum. This unlikely piece of memorabilia was valued at $28,000, making it an obvious target for thieves. The platinum cheese slicer was studded with 220 diamonds. It was made in collaboration with the Argentinian designer Rodrigo Atatsu, who is known for his extravagant designs and has created jewelry for celebrities like Britney Spears and Madonna. Although the culprits were caught on camera, police were unable to properly ID them. As a reward for any information, the museum is offering a cheese gift basket and the world's largest fondue set. At this stage, the cheese bandits remain at large. In March 2010, a group of daring Parisian robbers, dubbed the Termites, tunneled into the historic French bank Credit Lyonnais. The bank had been closed for renovation work, leaving them with plenty of time to complete their heist. After breaching the entrance with pickaxes and flamethrowers, the thieves tied up the lone security guard and began plundering all 200 of the vaults. When they were finished, they had collected an estimated $34 million in cash and jewelry. As a parting gift, the termites set off the sprinkler system, flooding the building and causing irreparable damage. They were never caught, and their incredible feat is considered France's crime of the century. In November 2012, shoppers at London's Brent Cross Mall got the shock of their lives when 6 bikers performed a terrifying drive-by theft. There were 2 men on each bike, one driving and the other smashing into jewellery cases with an axe or bat. They stole over $3.1 million in watches and diamonds before disappearing in a blaze of burnt rubber. Their bikes were found abandoned, but the burglars escaped consequence-free. A witness described the ordeal as like something from a James Bond film. They said there was just no time to be frightened and the whole thing barely seemed real. In 1990, Los Angeles experienced a crime wave that was weird even by LA standards. Over the course of a few months, more than 3...
Oh, thanks, mate.
The city's manhole covers mysteriously disappeared. This large-scale operation was believed to be the work of just 2 thieves. Their goal was to take the 300-pound covers and sell them as scrap metal. At the time, their street value was just $6 a cover, which hardly seems worth it considering how heavy and difficult they would have been to steal. In fact, the thieves could have made 30 times this amount by recycling soft drink cans, which would have had the added bonus of benefiting the environment. Similar manhole cover crime sprees have occurred all around the world. These thieves had a literal hole in their plan. In March 1999, a security truck left to transfer a large sum of money from Sacramento to San Francisco. Their truck was heavily armoured with an alarmed trailer, 2 armed guards and a driver in the cab. When they arrived at their destination, they opened the sealed truck doors and found the $2.3 million they had been carrying was missing. The cunning thieves had gained access by cutting a hole in the truck's thin aluminium roof. After an extensive investigation, the FBI determined that someone had jumped onto the truck's roof when it stopped at a weighing station. A witness glimpsed the bandit, but there was not enough information to form any leads. Authorities offered a $25,000 reward for any information that led to an arrest, but nothing ever came of it. The collar bomb heist is one of the most twisted and complicated crimes in FBI history. In 2003, a 46-year-old pizza delivery man walked into a bank and demanded they hand over $250,000. Although he was unarmed, the man lifted his shirt to reveal he had a homemade bomb strapped to his torso. He told the bank staff the bomb would explode in 15 minutes unless his demand was met. The employees gave him just $8,000 and he left the bank. But while making his escape, the thief found himself surrounded by police. Unfortunately, it was too late for them to intervene. The bomb soon exploded, decapitating the man and killing him instantly. This event drew huge media attention. It's believed that a group of men had attached the bomb to an innocent man and forced him to commit the crime for them. Police have still been unable to get to the bottom of this tragic incident. Before we get to that #1 spot and take a look at a senior citizen robber who's gained a cult following, remember to hit that subscribe button and turn on channel notifications. That way you'll be up to date with all our latest content. Most elderly folks are content spending their last days playing bingo and easing into retirement. But not the Giza Bandit. This senior citizen's claim to fame is an epic 2-year spree of bank robberies across the entire state of California. The Giza Bandit has been described as a left-handed white male between the ages of 60 and 70. Each of his 16 robberies played out in the same way. First, he would enter the bank pretending to be a regular customer. Then he would pull out a revolver and hand the teller a note that read, "Give me $50,000 or I'll murder you." The Giza Bandit hasn't committed any robberies since 2011, but the FBI is still offering a $20,000 reward for any information that leads to his capture. Given his age, it's possible his health has deteriorated, which may explain why he hasn't committed any recent robberies. Despite the years of inactivity, the Giza Bandit has a cult following on social media. His many Facebook fan pages sell t-shirts featuring surveillance images of him captured during his robberies.
Well, that's the end of another episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you can't get enough of the old slapped ham, there's an embedded link there, or there's a link to a playlist in the description box below. Slap that upward facing thumb as it really helps us out. And that's it for me. I'll see you all next time. Pew! How you doing? I'm Callan and this is Slapped Ham. Today we're looking at some really creepy pictures. From a photo of a ghost girl on a ship to an image of a boy who drowned years earlier. Join us as we take a look at 10 photos of ghost children that have everyone scared. And before we get into it, remember to hit that subscribe button for more creepy content just like this.
In 2004, a boy took this photo of his family out the front of their home on a bright summer's day. At first, no one noticed anything unusual about the picture, and it wasn't until sometime later when the family were thumbing through an old family album that they realised there was another figure present in the picture. If you take a closer look at the glass oval in the centre of the front door, you can clearly see what appears to be a young girl dressed in white staring out at the family. The family claimed there was no one else in the house at the time the photo was taken, and that the house itself was only 4 years old. They had purchased it just 6 months after it was built and had never heard of a little girl ever living there. They were completely baffled by the image. The figure has a pale, featureless face and looks strangely out of place, dressed in a long flowing gown on a hot summer's day. Some who have seen the picture believe that the little girl may be a spirit that is somehow attached to the house, while others have suggested that it could be a long-lost deceased relation of the family. What do you think it could be? Love to hear your opinion in the comments section below. This photo was taken by a couple whose cat kept hissing at the patio door. Every time they got up to inspect, there didn't seem to be anything there. They decided to take a photo to see if they could catch whatever it was the cat was hissing at. When they uploaded the image to their computer, they couldn't believe what they had captured. In the photo, there appears to be a little girl staring into the house. She is pale and vapour-like and looks to be wearing some sort of period dress. The cat looks as though it can clearly see the ghostly figure as it arches its back, hissing at the window. Many believe that animals can see things that humans can't, and that they have a heightened sensitivity to the paranormal. The couple, who are obviously shaken by the photo, said they had no idea who the little girl was. Their house was believed to be very old, so it's possible that the mysterious figure may have once been a resident. Whatever it is the couple have captured in this photo, I'm sure they'll pay closer attention to where their cat is looking from now on. When a young woman took a series of photos of her son, she was shocked to discover she had captured something more. Over the boy's right shoulder, you can clearly see a dark figure walking across the carpet. The figure is about the size of the boy, and if you look closely, you can make out legs, which even cast a shadow across the floor. The apparition has no distinguishable facial features, and you can see the sofa straight through it. When the image first appeared online, skeptics suggested that the ghostly figure could be simply another child that had been blurred by the camera's slow shutter speed. The woman said it wasn't possible, however, as there was no one else in the house at the time the photos were taken. What do you think this photo was captured? Has the young mother actually photographed a ghost child walking around her living room? This photo was captured by a woman in Dartmoor, England in 2002. At first glance, there doesn't appear to be anything strange about it. That is until you hear the chilling backstory. The woman was sitting in her car with her partner watching the ponies in a nearby field when she decided to take some photos. It was raining outside, so she leaned out the window of the car to get the picture. When the pair reviewed their photos later that evening, they were stunned to see a young girl with blonde hair patting the horse. The woman claimed that there was no one else in the area at the time the photo was taken, and they had definitely not seen a young girl in the field. If you take a closer look at the girl in the image, you can see that her arm is unusually thin and she has long wispy fingers draped down the side of the horse. The area where this picture was taken is infamous for strange ghost sightings. In the 1920s, a series of fatal accidents occurred along a nearby stretch of road. One survivor told authorities that as he was travelling along the road, he suddenly felt a pair of rough, hairy hands wrench at the steering wheel, causing him to swerve off the road. Another couple reported being attacked by a ghostly hand while camping in the area that only disappeared after the woman used her fingers to make the sign of the cross. Over time, these and other bizarre sightings have become known as the ghostly hands of Dartmoor. Could it be possible that this budding photographer has actually captured proof that there is ghosts haunting the area? In 2017, a group of women on a hen's party captured these two photos at a remote estate in Scotland. When the images were posted to Reddit, they immediately caused a stir. In the second picture, which was taken just moments after the first, you can clearly see a small boy on the left-hand side staring at the group from behind the chopped logs. After the group looked at the images, they were supposedly so frightened by what they saw that they left the area immediately. Several of the girls did some investigating and discovered that a young boy had died while staying at the nearby Coilette Hotel with his mother. He was said to have drowned after sleepwalking into the murky waters of the lake. According to the owners of the hotel, the boy's presence can still be felt in room 4, and guests have reported belongings going missing and being moved. Some even claim to have seen mysterious wet footprints on the floor as the boy searches the hallways for his mother. Since the child's tragic drowning, he's become known to locals as the Blue Boy, because that's the colour his skin was by the time they eventually pulled him out of the lake. In 2013, a woman by the name of Luann Sakuro claimed that she had experienced many strange things while living in her Ravenna, Ohio residence. Sakuro, who had lived in the house for more than 20 years, said that she had heard the mysterious voice of a child and believed that the ghost of a young girl was roaming her hallways at night time. She'd even heard strange noises coming from her closets and doorknobs jiggling. This photo was taken by her son some years earlier, and it appears to show a ghostly, childlike face peering out of one of the living room windows. After seeing this photo, Sakuro said, "I feel that this image is a very good photo of something paranormal caught on camera. A very disturbing photo. It appears to be an image of a child. I believe the image in the photograph shows what's in our home." Is this photo evidence that Luann Sakuro's house is actually haunted by a ghost of a little girl? What do you think this photo was captured? Let us know in the comments section below. When this photo first appeared online, it immediately attracted significant attention. The woman and her daughter are posing for a picture in front of the famous ship the Star of India, docked at the Maritime Museum in San Diego Harbor. The photo, which was taken by the woman's father, looks to have captured a young girl dressed in white on the outer side of the guard railing. The woman claims that her father waited for all passerbys to move before taking the photo, and that no members of her family could remember seeing the girl at the time. Making the photo even more unsettling is the fact that on the other side of the guardrail there's a 6-foot drop straight into the harbour below. Who is this mysterious girl, and how is she managing to stay afloat above the water? Could it be the ghost of a child that tragically died at sea? Love to hear what you think is going on in this photo. This photo was taken by a young boy who woke up in the middle of the night and thought his sister was playing a prank on him. He soon realised that it wasn't his sister who was staring at him through the door, as she was still upstairs sleeping. The girl's skin is pale and she has a lifeless look on her face. She also appears to be wearing a long dress that would look more at home in the 1800s. When the boy screamed, the eerie figure was said to have disappeared from the hallway. When this unnamed parent checked her baby monitor to make sure her son was sleeping, she got a horrible fright. She quickly grabbed her phone and captured this image. Next to her sleeping son is the disembodied face of another child staring straight into the baby monitor. When this photo first surfaced, skeptics were quick to discredit it by saying that the face could simply belong to a brother or sister who had crept into the crib through the night. However, the woman was quick to mention that the sleeping boy was an only child, and that there was no other children at the house at the time. Other viewers also pointed out that even if the face did belong to another child, how did they manage to climb into the sleeping boy's crib? And more importantly, where is the child's body? Before we get to that number one spot and take a look at a truly terrifying photo of a ghost child, remember to hit subscribe and turn on channel notifications. That way you'll be up to date with all our latest creepy content. In February 2017, a council official in the Spanish town of Vegas del Ganil captured this unsettling image in the local town hall. The photo shows what appears to be a young girl standing in the middle of the hallway. The official, who was working through the night, claimed that he suddenly felt the air in his office become very cold. When he got up to go to the bathroom, he heard a strange sound coming from the end of the corridor. Fearing that there were thieves in the building, he decided to use his phone to take a photo. He briefly glanced at the image and saw that there was no one there. However, when he reviewed the photo sometime later, he noticed that he had captured what appeared to be a young girl staring back at him. The man showed the picture to several of his colleagues who admitted to having similar experiences while working in the building. The staff urged the mayor of the town to hire a priest or ghost hunters to investigate, but the mayor remained skeptical of the claims, saying, "How can I justify hiring a medium when I have residents without electricity?" If you're enjoying our content, then consider supporting us on Patreon. Patreon helps creators like us continue to make interesting indie content. So if you've ever been entertained by our videos, then why not show some love and support us now? In return, you'll also get some awesome exclusive rewards, like regular shoutouts across our social media, pitch ideas for lists, get shoutouts at the end of our YouTube videos, or get a custom voice clip of me saying whatever you like. If you're interested, there's a link to our Patreon page in the description box below.
Well, that's the end of another episode. In the comments section below, let us know which of these photos scared the bejeebers out of you. Remember to subscribe if you're new, or hit that upward facing thumb, it really helps us out. And that's it for me, I'll see you all next time. Pew! How you doing? I'm Callan and this is Slapped Ham. Today we're talking about some really terrifying images. From a photo of an eerie alien visitor to a monster seen lurking near the Great Wall of China. Join us as we take a look at 8 weird photos that simply shouldn't exist. And before we get into it, remember to hit that subscribe button for more awesome creepy content just like this.
In early 2018, a father submitted this eerie photo to Reddit asking the community for an explanation. The user, who wanted to remain anonymous, said he was taking some photos of his son. He took a whole series of pictures of his boy playing around the living room. Several hours later, when the user reviewed the photos, he was shocked to discover one image that seemed to show a mysterious figure standing in the room behind his son. The photo clearly shows a humanoid figure with a long, slender neck and a small, bulbous head. It has large black eyes and looks to be wearing a silver shirt with black pants or a skirt. Its legs are distorted, short and thin. The user said he was terrified someone had broken into their house, as he was adamant that it was just him and his son home at the time. The dad quickly searched all the rooms looking for someone that had entered their home. However, there was no one to be found anywhere. Once he thoroughly searched his house and property, he sat down and took another look at the photo. It was at this point he almost fainted at the realization that it wasn't a thief or a human intruder. The Reddit user now believes he was visited by an extraterrestrial. He is convinced that the strange proportions of the visitor and deep black eyes have to be that of an alien from outer space. Fellow Reddit commentators agreed that the figure was unusual and couldn't quite explain the image. A whole slew of explanations were considered, including ghosts, ghouls, aliens, and even angels. More level-headed viewers suggested that it might be a glitch in the camera, merging another image with this one. Others said it was an outright hoax, blaming Photoshop for the whole thing. So what do you think? Has the camera captured the split second an alien visitor appeared, or is there another explanation? Imagine walking along a street walled in by tall apartments only to see this very unsettling notice sticky taped to a pole. While you're reading this, there is a man in one of the windows high above you who is taking your photograph. He'll then make a Wii model of you and put it with other Wii models of other people, then he plays weird games with them. It's enough to make anyone's skin crawl. In January 2015, Japanese pop star Sayaka Yamamoto posted this eerie photo to her Twitter. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary when the member of girl band NMB48 tweeted to her audience, saying she was about to eat some strawberry daifuku. However, moments after the tweet went live, several fans noticed something unusual in the photo. If you take a close look in the mirror at the rear of the room, it appears to show an extra person sitting in the vacant seat next to Yamamoto. In the reflection, you can see the back of the pop star's head, and to her right there is another long-haired figure, but in the foreground the seat is completely empty. According to Japanese folklore, mirrors can sometimes reflect images of spirits that have unresolved energy, ghostly entities that are trapped in limbo. What do you think's been captured in this mysterious photo? Experts who have analysed the image have struggled to provide a reasonable explanation. One professional even admitted if it's a Photoshop job, it's one of the finest he's ever seen. Several journalists contacted Yamamoto for further comment, but she declined to elaborate. Could this Japanese pop star really have captured a spirit on camera? Is this a soul lingering in the room trying to make contact? This chilling photo was uploaded to Reddit in 2013. The user said he found it inexplicably in a drawer in his grandma's house. No one in the family could explain it or identify the woman in the photo. What makes this far worse is what the poster said happened the night before discovering this creepy photo. He said he was staying at his grandmother's house, which the family hadn't visited in many years. During the first night there, he woke up at around 3 AM to a creaking door sound. He assumed it was his sister, but realised the door to the room was closed. When he opened his eyes to have a look, he said he saw a partial figure of a girl float towards his bed. She was pale and translucent and hard to focus on. His breathing became tight and restricted as the figure eerily hovered towards an old cabinet in the corner of the room. The strange presence vanished and he ran out of the room immediately. The following day, he told his mum and grandma about the encounter. They said they didn't know what it could be, but maybe he should ask his uncle about the incident. Later that afternoon, whilst looking for a pen, the Reddit user opened a drawer and discovered this photo. His heart nearly stopped right then and there, as the photo had a similar energy to the figure that had visited him just the night before. On the back of the photo was the single word "look" scrawled in pen. When he asked his uncle about the photo and the incident, his uncle believed him immediately, saying he had had all kinds of strange encounters in that house. Once he had workmen renovating the house, leaving in a hurry, saying they couldn't work in the building after some kind of incident. He found shattered glass in his garage along with a single shackle found in the attic that he said mysteriously vanished. No one in the family can explain the photo or where it came from, and they have absolutely no idea who the woman in the photograph might be. This is a grave from Victorian-era England. It's thought that the cage was intended to keep villagers safe from vampires and zombies who might rise from their graves. If their corpses were to reanimate, the cage would stop them from escaping. However, some historians have noted that these cages might actually have been used for the opposite reason, to stop grave robbers from pillaging wealthy family tombs. What do you think? Is this cage keeping things in or out? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. In January 2017, researchers claimed that they had discovered a mummified hand that they believed to be extraterrestrial in origin. Author Brian Forster claims he and his team were given the strange mummified specimen from some cavers who were exploring a network of tunnels in southeastern Peru. It's alleged that the three-fingered hand was found near an unusual elongated skull. Forster claims that X-rays were taken of the hand, which shows each of the long fingers have 6 bones each, instead of 3 found in human fingers. He also said that he had a physician examine the specimen who verified that the find was made of real tissue and bone, but the DNA didn't match any known species of animal. The conclusion Forster and his team came to was that the mummified hand was not human, but came from a life form of some kind. Unfortunately, tests from independent researchers haven't been conducted. Also, the names and qualifications of Forster's team haven't been verified, which leads many to think that the specimen discovered is a hoax. However, the bizarre three-fingered mummified hand has fueled hopes for many alien enthusiasts that this is genuine evidence that extraterrestrials have visited our planet. This weird photo was posted to Reddit a few years ago. User Heart Shittles posted the photo to show off a quilt that she had just made. However, in the background you can see that her reflection in the mirror is somehow looking straight at the camera. Understandably, most Reddit users who saw the post were freaked out by the image. A debate quickly sparked as to how her reflection could be facing that direction. Some called the image cursed or haunted, saying that the young girl might be a witch. Others took a more reasonable approach and simply labelled the picture a Photoshop hoax. There's quite a few of these altered reflection photos floating around the internet. Whether they're hoaxes or not, they certainly make for very creepy images. Before we get to that number one spot and take a look at a weird monster spotted near the Great Wall of China, remember to hit that subscribe button and turn on channel notifications. That way you'll be up to date with all our latest videos. In June 2014, a series of photos surfaced that appear to show a goblin-like monster in a ravine near the Great Wall of China. An anonymous Chinese tourist said he was camping in Huaru, Beijing when he wandered away from the campsite to go to the toilet. It was at this moment he spotted a bizarre-looking creature squatting on a rock. He took out his phone and took a series of photos that almost defy explanation. When local news outlets contacted the witness, he said, "I walked far away to have a pee and suddenly saw a monster." When the photo set did the social media rounds, people were quick to dub the monster Gollum from Lord of the Rings, or even Dobby the house elf from Harry Potter. Some analysts have noted that the figure bears a striking resemblance to a costume featured in a Chinese TV commercial that was aired around the same time. So what do you think, real or fake? Did the tourist just stumble onto a photo shoot for an ad, or did he really witness some kind of cryptid animal that is yet to be classified by modern science?
Well, there's another episode down. Thank you so much for watching. Now in the comments section below, let us know which one of these photos you thought was the creepiest. Slap that thumbs up button as it really helps us out. And that's it for me. I'll see you all next time. Pew! From mysterious murders to a shadow demon that watches you while you sleep. Join us as we take a cautious peep at 11 haunted asylums that are sure to give you chills.
This forbidding building was a private home before becoming a hospital during World War II. It is known to have a haunted bedroom where the spectre of a murdered servant girl begins to cry at exactly 4:30 AM. Several caretakers who have stayed in the room say they've seen the girl standing at the foot of the bed. She rants almost incoherently about a man who did something to her. Some say she was raped and murdered by the former owner's son. Now her spirit is trapped eternally looking for an escape. Located in Hong Kong, this former asylum was used by Japanese soldiers to execute enemies in World War II. There are reports of decapitated victims roaming the halls, the sound of crying, and even visions of a man catching on fire. Because of this, the Sai Ying Pun Hospital has been nicknamed the High Street Ghost House. Located in western West Virginia, this asylum housed a range of occupants, from murderers and rapists to petty offenders of substance abuse and even sufferers of depression. This odd mix of patients led to a harrowing environment of violence and abuse, leaving behind tortured souls that cry out in the night. The traumatic pain of ice-pick lobotomies, rape and torture has imprinted upon this property, giving all those who visit a cold and forbidding feeling. Visitors have reported objects moving on their own, lights flickering, shadows in the distance disappearing. In Ward R is the room of a young girl named Lily that died in the asylum. They say on some cold nights you can see her waiting patiently for someone to play with her before disappearing. Are the former patients doomed to wander the echoed halls of this troubled asylum, or is it just a case of visitors projecting their fears? Considered one of the most haunted places in South Korea, the Gonjiam Psychiatric Hospital is about as creepy as it gets. After its doors inexplicably closed to the public in the mid- Rumours spread that patients and even staff had been mysteriously dying. Many speculated that one of the doctors at the hospital had been performing experimental procedures on unwilling patients. A formal statement was never released as to why the hospital went into foreclosure. Now the property sits overgrown and abandoned, each room paint-flecked and stained, broken glass everywhere. One urban explorer noted in their blog that sticky notes